My wife frequently raises the topic of divorce in our interactions, regardless of the circumstances. I have chosen to accept this as a normal aspect of our relationship. Currently, I am residing with my sister while my wife and I are separated. We have been together for 5 years and have been married for 4. We have a child together who is 4 years old. I am the primary breadwinner in the family. The house is my responsibility as she has chosen not to return to work for the past year and a half. We engage in arguments approximately once or twice a month. I do assist with childcare, including cleaning, cooking, and engaging with both children. The first time she expressed a desire for a divorce was when we engaged in a heated argument. My sister called and asked if she could stay with us for a while because she was experiencing relationship difficulties. I told her she could stay, but my wife was not pleased. I pointed out that her friend had stayed with us for 5 weeks before and had not done any housework. She was just there, not engaging in any conversation. She was a stranger to me and my daughter. My sister is a lovely person and has a great relationship with our daughter. I thought my wife was as well. She ended up staying with us for a week, helping out around the house, cooking, cleaning, and watching over our daughter when needed. I thought we had resolved the issue. Both parties forgave each other and moved on. The majority of disagreements are minor in nature, with the vast majority, approximately 90%, not initiated by me. I have suggested therapy and counseling, but she has consistently asserted that neither is necessary. However, I initiated therapy last night. The session began with her initiating a conflict, stating that I spend an excessive amount of time at work and that she feels. She then accused me of abandonment and asserted that I am not a good father. She concluded her diatribe by stating that she wants a divorce. I stood up and informed her that the only reason I work so much is because she cannot stop spending my money. At the time of the argument, I had been typing out a document. I had used our money to pay for the typing, which had resulted in my money being accidentally included in the document. We then agreed to split the money into bills. Future savings, future daughter, and fun money. Money spent on items that are not necessary or used. She refused to seek employment or pursue education in order to assist her family. I am the primary financial provider for my daughter. I am consistently present at her significant life events, including school functions, doctor's appointments, and other necessary occasions. She has consistently refused to seek assistance through therapy or other forms of counseling. I no longer wish to endure this situation. I will have my lawyer send her the necessary paperwork when she drafts it. I have retrieved my daughter's belongings and relocated with her to my sister's residence. It has been 2 days, and she continues to contact and text me, expressing remorse and stating that she did not intend to cause me distress. She requests assistance in seeking counseling and therapy. She misses me, etc. I am unsure of the best course of action. While I love her, I am unable to continue in this relationship. I have consulted with an attorney for my family and work. I have known her since I was a teenager. I have updated you all on this unfortunate situation. Unfortunately, this is not a positive update. I posted a few months ago. Regarding my wife's repeated references to divorce, which I had been enduring for some time. I had finally achieved a degree of stability, with my daughter and I had relocated. I felt the need to express my frustration, which led me to post on this forum. For further clarification, I refer to one of my comments on my August post. I would like to highlight several points. It would appear that certain aspects of the situation were overlooked or not given sufficient consideration. If I were to be given the opportunity to do things differently, I would do everything again, including taking my daughter. I have encouraged my daughter's wife to seek employment, engage in a hobby, and meet new friends. I have also encouraged her to seek assistance from others. However, she has consistently refused to consider any of these suggestions. I have consistently maintained that my daughter is my primary concern. I have never engaged in conflict with my wife in front of our daughter or around her. I have also experienced the effects of a dysfunctional household, having witnessed my father's anger towards my mother and her subsequent departure from the family home. I am determined to avoid a similar outcome for my daughter. I am unaware of the circumstances that led to my wife's decision. The night in question, one cannot force someone to seek help, they must be willing to do so. If one forces someone to seek help, they will merely go through the motions to appear as though they have changed. While I am not blameless in this situation, I cannot raise my daughter to believe that this behavior is acceptable. It is commonly understood that a ship is supposed to be like I decided when I was young that I would never be like my dad. After I made my post, I had a great deal to think about. I decided that I had to make sure she knew how serious I was. We sat down and I told her that I could no longer continue with this behavior, which included fighting and threatening. The couple agreed that divorce was not an option. However, the wife stated that she would not engage in further discussions about the matter. The husband informed her that the next time the topic was raised, it would be the last time they would discuss it. They agreed to seek counseling, which proved to be an enlightening experience. During the sessions, they were able to express their feelings and gain insights from an external professional. After a few sessions, the husband observed that the couple was making progress. The wife began to apply herself more, found employment, and formed new friendships. However, an argument ensued when the wife attempted to cancel plans regarding their daughter, which the husband felt were more important. At what I considered to be the conclusion of the dispute, the woman I was married to said, in a low voice, "I knew marrying you was a mistake." I looked at her and the most striking thing I remember is how I did not recognize the woman that was standing there. She looked different to my eyes. I did not know who the woman in front of me was. I asked her to repeat herself, and she said, "I should have divorced you years ago." I walked away and took my daughter to the park alone, just us two. I ended up filing for legal separation under the terms we both signed. The stipulations of the separation agreement included the following: while separated, we are still legally married and will not engage in any romantic relationships during this period. Financial matters will be handled separately, but bills will remain as they were previously divided. I will continue to pay for insurance through my employer. Other benefits, such as therapy sessions, will continue for both individuals and couples. I will move in with my sister, and we will share custody of our daughter, with each of us having 70% of the time and 30% for the other parent. When I had my daughter, I needed my wife to take her. I informed her a week in advance, and she agreed the morning of at 7. On the 30th, I went to drop my daughter off at the house and observed the presence of an unfamiliar vehicle in the driveway. My initial assumption was that she was hosting a friend or romantic partner. I proceeded to ring the doorbell, adhering to the customary gesture of respect, yet the situation remained peculiar. I waited with my daughter while a shirtless man, approximately 20 years of age, opened the door and inquired about my identity and intentions. I requested to speak with my wife, and he proceeded to contact her. She emerged from around the corner in a robe and her expression shifted from curiosity to shock, dismay, and sadness. It is worth noting that, in the subsequent 3 months, the legal separation has now come to an end. I am filing for a decree of dissolution of marriage. My daughter is safe, she does not yet understand what is going on, other than that her parents are not happy with Echo. As previously stated, she is my priority. I have done the one thing I never wanted to do, the one thing I promised myself I would never become. However, I suppose it could be helped. I end up just like my parents. I do not know what a healthy relationship looks like. I hope I can show my daughter how much love I have for her. I endeavor to raise her in the best possible manner. I am grateful for the support, comments, and constructive criticism. I will now proceed to the next narrative. Narrative 2, am I incorrect in insisting that my sister fulfill her obligations under our custody agreement? There is a significant amount of background information that I must first clarify. My sister, Lily F. 35, had my niece Emma F. 9 when she was 26 years old. At that time, she was residing with my parents along with her then boyfriend. They had recently completed rehabilitation for heroin addiction. However, both she and her boyfriend were unable to maintain sobriety for an extended period. She was using heroin again. Throughout her pregnancy, when Emma was almost 2 months old, she requested that I take custody of her for 2 months while she checked into rehabilitation again to achieve sobriety. I was 22 years old, residing in an efficiency apartment while financing my legal education. However, my parents asserted that they were unable to care for an infant and proposed foster care to my sister. Consequently, I took my niece and when my sister completed her rehabilitation. She subsequently reconciled with her romantic partner, who was still using illicit substances, marking the beginning of 5 years of a cyclical and destructive pattern. One of them would achieve sobriety only to be led back into substance abuse by the other. I assumed legal guardianship of Emma, although this was intended to be a provisional arrangement. Each time Lily proposed taking Emma back, I consented on the condition that they both pass a drug test, but this never occurred. When Emma was almost 6 years old, my sister approached me, stating that she was pregnant once again. This marked a turning point for her, and she gave birth to my nephew, having been clean for almost 8 months. The transition from Emma residing with me to returning to her parents' home proved challenging for both of us. We engaged in legal proceedings and devised a custody arrangement, under which I retain custody of Emma on weekends but she resides with her maternal and paternal grandparents during the week. For the initial year, we participated in family therapy sessions together. Once we established a routine, however, we encountered a new challenge: my sister's pregnancy. She and her former partner, now her husband, have expressed reluctance to allow Emma to accompany me on weekends. Apparently, my sister believes that Emma's behavior at home is disruptive. I have explained to my sister that when Emma is with me, she is the center of attention. Therefore, it is understandable that she would find it challenging to adjust to a new routine. My sister has also expressed concern about the limited attention she receives from her mother, which is further complicated by bouts of morning sickness. In an effort to provide my sister with some rest and to facilitate Emma's adjustment, I have offered to take my nephew on weekends. This would allow my sister to focus on her recovery and potentially resume family therapy. However, my sister has declined this proposal. She has indicated that she will be taking a break from spending time with me. I permitted her to have 2 weekends with Emma, but when she continued to evade my requests, I threatened to take her to court. We have a custody agreement in place, and I am still one of Emma's legal guardians. She has accused me of throwing the past in her face and of preventing her from being a real mother to Emma. I find myself in a state of internal conflict. I have raised Emma for almost 6 years, and I treasure every moment I spend with her. However, I am unsure if my actions are truly in Emma's best interests. Emma has been in my care for almost 6 years, and I value every moment I spend with her. However, I am concerned that I may be hindering her development. Emma calls me every evening and asks what we are doing over the weekend and why I don't have time for her. Additionally, my sister has suggested that I am not interested in her coming over. I want what is best for Emma. Reddit Ada edit to clarify some misunderstandings: Emma is now 9 years old. My sister has been clean for over 3 years. We transitioned Emma very slowly. She was with her parents every other weekend for a year. Then we had a 50-50th split. Now I have weekends. Those who say that I am making it difficult for them to spend family time on weekends are mistaken. I have always been flexible. If they told me that they had weekend plans, would absolutely let them take Emma. Let them take Emma. This is not about them wanting to do things with Emma. Rather, it is about them not wanting me to do things with Emma. They sent her brother to my parents' house on Saturday and Sunday so that they could unwind. Over the past 2 weekends, they sent Emma to her grandparents as well. Therefore, I fail to see how it is that taking Emma from me is any different. My sister is a stay-at-home parent. It is therefore necessary to consider the following: the mother is a homemaker, and thus has considerable time to spend with Emma. She weighs nearly 300 pounds and rarely leaves the house, which often appears as though it has been devastated by a tornado. My parents purchased a house for my sister when Emma was 3 years old, in the hope that this would assist with her efforts to regain custody. My sister and I work, and we are able to support Emma financially. I drive Emma to karate, swimming, and Girl Scouts every week, and I am in constant contact with her to ensure that she is well cared for. It is evident that she is thriving. My brother has relapsed twice in the past 3 years, but he was evicted from the residence on both occasions. Consequently, Emma was not compelled to witness any such incidents. Those who allege that my sister is exploiting Emma as a babysitter are mistaken. My sister rarely leaves the house, and I ensure that Emma engages in numerous activities to ensure her well-being and to encourage her to be active. It has been reported that they recently permitted her to watch her 3-year-old. 1 year. The child was permitted to spend 2 hours with her older brother, and she was visibly excited. She was paid $20 for this visit. The comments about what might be happening at home with Emma were particularly concerning. I reached out to the therapist Emma had been seeing and made an appointment for Friday afternoon. The way we always do appointments is that the child gets to talk to her therapist alone first, and then I come in and we talk together. I will ensure that she knows I will always have time for her and will always be available to her. I will also inquire as to whether she is content residing with her parents or if she would prefer a reduction in our time there. I would appreciate your good wishes and thank you in advance for your feedback. I have taken on board the comments regarding the transition and I would like to reassure you that we are taking a gradual approach. We have been very slow to transition her and we have allowed her to remain with us every other weekend for almost a year before we relocated her primary residence. I am aware that I could easily regain custody of her if I wished to do so. A lawyer and I are aware of every legal loophole and the individuals within the system. This is why I believe I could regain custody, and if I believed that she was not safe, I would do so. However, I am unsure if this is the appropriate course of action. Emma indicates that she considers me a mother, but my sister harbors significant guilt for not being there and is striving to be the best mother possible. It is challenging to discern the larger picture amidst the details. We transitioned slowly to allow them. The arrangement was that weekends would be shared for the first year, then there would be a 50-50th split for almost a year, and now weekends have been mine for almost a year. Emma's behavior was exemplary until my sister became pregnant again. She was delighted to have a little brother and had started calling my sister Mom for the first time. I am paying for her to attend the private school she attended preschool in kindergarten. She was doing well with a stable social group and teachers. It would appear that Emma began returning from her weekends with me. During this period, she was disobedient to her parents for the first 2 to 3 days of the week. By the time my sister felt that Emma was following the house rules, it was time for my weekend. This cycle continued, and my sister has openly admitted that she is jealous of me, not only of my bond with Emma, but also of the fact that I can financially afford to provide Emma with many things that she cannot. She asserts that I spoil her, and I concede that I do. She is my daughter, and I want to provide her with the best life possible. From what I understand, she simply does not listen when her parents tell her to do things like do the dishes or get off the iPad. It is challenging because we do not have the same dynamic. I have her out of the house all day during the weekend doing activities, and I do not allow her to use the screen except right after dinner. I have a dishwasher, so she simply puts. Despite her culinary contributions, I have never experienced any issues with her listening to me. However, I have a significant amount of guilt associated with Emma calling me Mom. She initially referred to me as Mom for the first 3 years of her life. Then, during a visit from my sister, Emma began to exhibit distress when she called me Mom. She had a severe emotional breakdown, expressing her anguish and questioning how I could have allowed her to believe that I was her biological mother. This incident caused Emma significant distress and confusion. When my parents became involved, they decided that Emma should refer to me by a different term. Otherwise, there is no consensus on the matter. The majority of opinions seem to be in favor of an update. I have received numerous inquiries regarding an update, but the last month has been particularly hectic. In short, my sister gave birth, and I now have custody of all 3 children. I accompanied Emma to an emergency therapy session, during which she revealed a number of instances of mental manipulation that Lily had been engaging in. It would seem that my sister informed her that she had to beg me to take her as a baby. I had never wanted her and gave her back as soon as I was able, giving my sister credit where it is due. Initially, I did not want to take my niece in. I was in my first year of law school, living in an efficiency apartment in a state of financial distress. The idea of caring for an infant, even for just a couple of months while in school, was daunting. I was reliant on government assistance and my parents, but that did not negate my love for her. I was not attempting to relinquish my niece, but rather to do what I believed to be in her best interests. Following the conclusion of the therapy session, I initiated the process of obtaining an emergency custody order, citing parental alienation as the primary reason for my actions. However, I also included a factor that I believe to be a significant contributing factor to the situation, my sister's use of marijuana, which violated the conditions under which she was permitted to have custody. This is not a legal practice in my state, and she does not possess a prescription for it. Therefore, I requested a drug test and a home visit, citing the state of the home was described as a mess, but it was so bad that it posed a health hazard and was a hoarding situation. I was granted emergency custody, and CPS showed up at my sister's door on the following Monday. I had anticipated this outcome. In my previous post, I stated that I was confident in my ability to regain custody. I was aware of my sister's use of marijuana, which I did not view as a problem. I suffer from migraines and use them as needed. However, I was prepared to use them as a weapon if necessary. This is where everything went off the rails unexpectedly. Some people on the last post said that I clearly dislike my sister. I do not dislike her. I love her, and I believe that most of her troubles are due to her trusting nature and the people she surrounds herself with. However, I will be clear, I hate my bill. When CPS arrived, they found that my bill had been growing. Not only marijuana was found in the basement, but also psychedelic mushrooms. The basement was also found to contain psychedelic mushrooms. When both individuals were subjected to drug testing, they were found to have consumed a variety of illicit substances, including fentanyl, which was likely adulterated with other substances. My nephew was immediately removed from the premises and I was contacted to assume custody. Both individuals were subsequently arrested on charges related to my bill's horticultural activities in the basement. I can attest that I was unaware of these activities. I was aware that my sister was experiencing depression, but I did not perceive any indications of substance abuse. Despite my best efforts to the contrary, I did not see any signs of her using again. Furthermore, I was unaware that she was pregnant at the time. I was extremely distressed by this discovery and felt betrayed. I had adjusted to life with 2 children very quickly, but I was aware that she was going to have another infant soon. Consequently, I visited my pregnant sister in jail and made a deal with her. In exchange for me paying her bail and providing her with an attorney, she gave up all parental rights to all 3 children. This was done with the intention of ensuring that she had the best possible chance of avoiding jail time. Unfortunately, I was also required to pay the bail and legal fees for my nephew. She gave birth a week ago, and thankfully, she did not have to give birth in jail. My second nephew seems to be healthy despite her drug and alcohol use. I have full custody of Emma and both her brothers, and I am currently in the process of filing for legal adoption, which is a distinct legal process from guardianship. However, I am confident that I will be successful in this endeavor given that both parents are involved. I have relinquished their rights. I am aware that I am acting in the best interests of the children. The past has demonstrated that I am unwilling to remain in a state of uncertainty regarding their mother's sobriety, which would prevent me from reclaiming them. Furthermore, I have come to recognize that I cannot rely on her to be truthful and to refrain from manipulative behavior. Emma is flourishing. I have never observed her to be happier. Despite some challenges, including sleep deprivation, both she and the baby are doing well. I am most concerned for my 3-year-old. A year has elapsed since the initial incident. My nephew Ian is doing well, but I am unsure if he has fully grasped the permanence of this situation. We will undoubtedly engage in family therapy. I am grateful to everyone who encouraged me to investigate further and recognize that something was amiss with Emma. Without your support, I am uncertain of the potential consequences. It is important to note that many commenters expressed concern about my sister having another child. It is highly unlikely that the reason she had Emma in the first place was because she was not on any form of birth control. When she was a teenager, she had to have one of her ovaries removed, which made it unlikely that she could get pregnant. The ovaries were removed, and the doctor indicated that the probability of conceiving was minimal. Emma was in a breech position at the time of birth, necessitating a cesarean section. Consequently, both of my sister's subsequent children were delivered via cesarean section. According to the doctor, the cesarean section was performed due to extensive scarring. In addition to the removal of one ovary, the doctor informed her that the probability of her conceiving another child was low. While it is not impossible for her to become pregnant again, the likelihood of this occurring is so low that I have chosen to focus my attention on other matters for the time being. Relevant comments and information. SLC Curiosity on Law School. I completed law school approximately 7 years ago. I worked as an ADA shortly after graduating and currently work as a criminal defense attorney, occasionally handling family law cases. I am currently pursuing a business certification in international law, as I was raised in Europe and now reside in the United States. I am interested in potentially transitioning to an international company as an attorney, with the possibility of travel. However, I must consider the impact of any job changes on my children. I spent my childhood traveling extensively, and although I appreciate the diverse cultures I encountered, I never had the opportunity to settle down. An opportunity has arisen for those with roots in this community to express their views. My parents and I have taken a temporary separation from each other. When I filed for emergency custody, my parents were extremely upset and both of us made statements that we now regret. I understand their perspective, but it seemed to me that my sister's family had become more stable, while my parents' situation had deteriorated. I had presumed that I was attempting to undermine the situation. However, it would appear that circumstances have changed since the initial incident. This is the first occasion on which they have declined to provide financial assistance to my sister. They have not contacted me directly, and I believe it would be prudent to allow a period of time to elapse before taking any further action. I am currently experiencing sleep deprivation and feelings of overwhelming stress, and I am reluctant to make any further statements, as I may regret them later.